button.
There we go. We're back. It's Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning, December 6th.
Yeah, we had to do some math.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, welcome back.
Welcome back. It's on Rendell again. I always leave it on you.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're starting us off today.
I am.
We're changing it up.
I'm doing the one thing this week. So, what is one thing that God has shown you in the last week?
Ooh.
Is there anything in particular? Anything that...
Well, we'll talk about it a little later.
Okay. All right.
But there was a funeral this weekend. However the time works.
2 days ago, yeah.
2 days ago, there was a funeral. So I think through that, and yeah, we will get into it later, but just a healthy reminder of what life's truly about. Like, not necessarily have the answers, but or that I got a bunch of answers, but it just made me again realize, like, on your deathbed, you're not going to think about, like, oh my goodness, I made that extra $100 or I made that extra $10,000 here. It was like, no, did I spend enough time with my family, or like I wish I would have. So
For
that
sure
would be mine. What about you? How the turns have tabled.
Yeah, I think one thing, it's fairly similar to that. I don't know. What you just said, like, it was literally perfect, because I was like, this afternoon I went on a walk with my mom for just 2.5 miles. We just were like, Mom was like, I'm going on a walk. And I was like, do you want to come with me? And she normally just asked that because she knows that I normally wouldn't want to. I was like, yeah, sure. I just got home from work. I still had my paint clothes on. I was like, yeah, let's go. She's like, what? And it made me think, it's something I do think about, maybe not too often, I guess. It's, I don't know, here and there. But I know, like, I've heard before. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit. But it's like, I guess you truly never know. It just kind of ties back to the funeral, but you never know how long you're going to have your parents, how long you're going to have your friends, how long you're going to have literally anybody in your life. And I was like, I can sacrifice like 45 minutes. And it was a great time. Mom and I had a great conversation. And yeah, we talked for like the whole time. And it was like, afterwards, in the moment, I was like, I don't really want to go on a walk, but it's like, yeah, why not? Sure. I don't know. I think that's one life thing that I have adapted a little bit, is like, just try to say yes to more things. I don't know. Never know where it'll take you. Yeah. Like, yes, it's important to weigh the risk and, is it worth it or whatever. But in general, you never know. Just say yes. It's like with Scratch Hacks. It's like with this podcast. It's like with, the business. It's like with other things.
Is this a Nike commercial? Just do it.
Just do it.
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
So, no, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, just, I don't know. I wouldn't say full send maybe, but full
send.
So, yeah, I guess that was a little long-winded, but.
Hey, it's all right.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, get into, you were in, so the last week.
Yeah.
You have been down in Florida for a few days, right?
Yeah. I made a last-minute decision about a week and a half ago, that I was going to fly down to Miami because my dad was down there for a furniture convention. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to find flights that are cheap. First flights I look at, $700. I was like, okay. Nope.
Nope.
Like, that's okay. I literally, like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, well, I don't have to go. It's okay. It was just a thought. I was like, oh, it would work out for work and whatever. And then I found flights for like $120 total or something like that out of Cleveland. The whole situation on how I even got there was wild. My first flight got delayed for 6 hours.
Oof.
And then got canceled. And
from Cleveland.
So I was supposed to leave at 5:30. So I got there at 4 in the morning. And then at noon, there was another flight leaving for Miami that I bought then. And I got my refund for my first flight, bought this one. And when we got off the plane that was canceled, they were like, oh, your bags will be on carousel too. Just be a few minutes, and your bags will be there. Like, perfect. So I booked the flight. I had like an hour and 45 minutes. So I had to go get my bag, recheck them, and I was like, hour and 45 minutes, I'm here already? Perfect. Well, I ended up waiting for 2.5 hours on the bags then.
Oh.
Like, they just didn't come. So
you were on the first plane that got canceled.
I was on the first plane that got canceled. Missed my second flight
that you had bought.
That I had bought.
Oh.
So I was out about $200. Then I bought another flight that left at $240, but I waited to buy that one until I got my bags because I was like,
were they all the same airline?
No,
different.
Nope, they're all different. It was Spirit, then I missed the Frontier flight, and then I got an American flight.
I think that might be more of a blessing than you think.
Yeah, maybe. American was awesome though. Yeah,
better than Frontier.
I know. Yeah,
maybe it's a good thing you missed that one.
Maybe.
So you did get down there.
I did get down there. Then golfed like for 3 days.
Nice.
Weather was perfect, like 80s.
You brought your clubs or no? You did.
I did. Yep. So, and then, so in the airport on the way home, I just thought it was the funniest day. I sent all my friends snaps, but I sit down at the gate, and I look over, and there's someone, there was a girl over there, and I thought she was legit doing a workout in the airport. I was like, that's weird, but whatever. And then I look over again, because I didn't want to, how it is. You don't want to be like, look over, if you're watching, you saw what I just did, but you don't want to whatever. And because she's only 20 feet from me, she's very close. And I was like, man, she's working out or whatever. And then all of a sudden I look over again, and she's full on doing a dance, a TikTok dance. And she has the light, not the ring light, but it was a light or whatever. And she's got her headphones on, and she's just over there just, doing her thing. I don't know. And it was, I haven't laughed that hard just internally. I was like, this is where it'd be nice to have someone to fly with, because you could be like, dude, look at that. That's crazy. I was like, do people have no embarrassment anymore? No one cares.
They just,
To be fair, no one was looking at her a bunch. They were all just looking at her. I did see some gate agents though looking over at her and laughing. It was hilarious because I look over and there was 3 ladies at my gate, and they were all just and they were, it was hilarious. So that was a wild thing. I was like, do people just not?
I mean, in a way, it's kind of cool that people don't care what you think. But there's also a social awareness that is...
Because the crazy thing is she wasn't even on that flight or anything. She came over to kind of a quieter spot to just film her TikToks and left. Packed up her backpack and left. It was hilarious, dude.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So that was a wild thing.
And then you met that dude, or was that on the way down?
That was on the way down. I met a guy from Canton. Got his contact information. If any of you golfers know, if any of you guys, whatever, he's a member at Glenmore. Very nice course. So, all that to say, got down there at 8 o'clock on Wednesday, and I was supposed to get down there at 8 in the morning.
Ooh,
so full 12
you got
hours.
There at 4.
Huh? Yeah. No, my flight was supposed to land in Miami at 8:20 in the morning.
So you got at the Cleveland airport at 4 though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
a long day. Yep.
Yeah.
Got up at 2 and
cool.
Went to bed at 11. So it was fun though. I mean, I was in Florida, so
yeah.
I tell you what, one of the best experiences I think is when it's wintertime. I don't know, when it's wintertime and it's cold and you step out of the airport of a warm place. Might be the best feeling. It was awesome. Yeah. It was awesome. So that's pretty much what I had to say. I didn't really have anything crazy happen, I don't think. So
you even filmed something for Scratch X?
Oh, I did.
There?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, filmed a little video, a little 18 holes. So yeah. So what do you want to get into?
Well, I don't know. Should we talk about the funeral more? It's kind of sad.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't here for this because it was kind of, we were down there when it happened. So, or I was at the airport when I got when my mom texted me.
Yeah. Was that a Wednesday?
It was Wednesday morning, yeah.
Wednesday morning, yeah.
Yeah, I was in the airport trying to figure out my flights, and Mom was like, oh, Jonas just passed away. And I was like, oh.
So it'd be my first cousin's grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them. But yeah, it was, well, like I said earlier, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it did. It gave every time I go to a funeral, it just gives you a new perspective of what really matters. And I don't know. It's a weird level of one thing and I think I've said it on here, but is life about peak happiness, or is it fulfillment? And how much does happiness have to do with fulfillment? It definitely plays a part. But what is that? That's kind of I don't know. It's tough. So, I don't know. I thought it was really cool. I saw some people I haven't seen and learned some stuff I didn't know about people and connections and stuff. I used to go to school with this one person here was like somehow kind of related. Anyway, it was really neat experience. Obviously sad for the passing, but really good service. My grandpa had preached a really good message. That was very, very good. So, yeah, I know for me, like, if I ever die, I'm telling you now, but, like, I want it to be a celebration more than,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's going to be human emotions. And it was very, I mean, it's a sad time, but even this service felt like there was mourning, there was grief, but there was also a hope, and it wasn't like, I've been to some where it's super just drab and just very kind of a dark cloud of just like really sad, but this had that, but it had the joy comes in the morning. We actually sang that song. They requested it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I did enjoy. I don't know if we should say the name or whatever or not. I don't know if you wanted to or not, but had some good experiences with him. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
he was good.
He was definitely a good time. And yeah, I know. I hear a lot of people talk about how, well, maybe not a lot. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying a lot of filler words today. So, but like I would agree with you. Is like if one day when I pass on, definitely want it to be more of a celebration than, because everyone knows where we're both going.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, you have a lot of people that are hurt and people that are mourning, and it's not an easy time. But yeah, I don't know.
anyway,
Yeah,
we talked
that was
about
the sad part of the podcast.
Very sad.
So, yeah.
Well, what do we want to get into? Do we want to do go for it.
Okay.
We
yeah.
got a voice message from
Our favorite, Taylor Yoder.
Taylor Yoder.
My cousin.
Let's see what
man
he's got.
himself.
We're doing a little earlier than normal, but
Yeah, but we knew this one would lead into some stuff.
we did
So,
pre-listen a little.
yeah. All right, here we go.
Hey guys, Taylor here. Proud Perspectinaut. I will have to side with both of you on this. I agree with Brevin that it's not the best one. I think you can do better, but I'll side with Rendell as well. It's the best one you've had so far. Anyways, going into the question, what are your guys' thoughts on modesty for both boys and girls in today's day and age?
I like how he didn't do men and women. It was
Boys and girls. Yeah. Well, first of all, Taylor was talking about the name Perspectinauts. In case you didn't know. If you don't know about Perspectinauts, go listen to the last episode, because Jefferson left us an all-time voice message, I think.
That was up there.
Yeah. Modesty and boys and girls. This doesn't get talked about, I don't feel like, that much, because everyone likes to...
It's the silent, like, you're silently expected to just know. If you know, you know.
And if you have an opinion and you voice it, it's always wrong.
Yeah.
It seems like.
So we're going to be wrong today.
Yeah, our perspective.
Well, what do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I would say, I mean, okay.
Because we're obviously qualified.
Oh, yeah. For sure qualified. First off, I think context is huge.
Lay it out for us.
So, like, this is very elementary, but if I'm at a beach right now, it'd be expected that I wear shorts and probably a tank top or something like that. No one would look at me weird. Everyone's wearing it. Whatever, like it would, whatever. Whereas if I'd walk into, I don't know, like a steakhouse, I'm not going to wear that.
Yeah.
Like, they'll kick me out. So I can wear the same exact article of clothing, and it would be totally acceptable in one place and totally not acceptable in another. Especially with church and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to sound cliche, but here it is. It's about the heart, not the article of clothing. However, there's also, with the heart comes an awareness of context, of like where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know where you're at.
And what you're doing.
What you're doing, yes.
Yeah. Which goes with intentions. I know you, but yeah.
Correct. So, like, I mean, I'll just say this, even just this last weekend, not going to say where or whatever, but I totally, like, there are people who carry themselves and they just have this they're trying to flaunt or they're trying to, like, you can just tell.
Putting themselves out there.
There's just something about them that they're trying to get attention. And they might even be wearing the most modest clothes in the world, and they still have that intention, and you can sense it. Whereas other people, they might, especially in this, I mean, this community is extremely, like, it'll make news if someone, oh my goodness, did you hear that they wore this? Or, but like if someone would dress maybe not the way we would or differently or whatever, but they're not trying to do it out of an evil intent, or maybe not evil, but just an intent to flaunt or be
distracted,
flirting or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how I would take it. It is a heart issue, but it also, there is obviously, okay, if someone has a good heart and is innocent in their heart, yet wears nothing and doesn't know any better, that's still not acceptable. So I think that would be, it's a heart thing, but paired with social aware, like, context. Anyway,
that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. You kind of just laid it all out. I feel like, I mean, I know this is also kind of cliche, but modesty for guys is not really talked about at all. And I don't know if it's because I don't know why, really. It's a real thing. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think we're supposed to just wear 5-inch inseam shorts. I'm not saying that's, I mean, if you want to wear them, I guess go ahead. That's pretty short, but.
Well, I think it's the main thing is just,
what's the reason for wearing? Well, it's kind of like this is what it reminded me of. Is like, remember, I think it was last episode that you said, asking what is right with this.
Instead of what's
wrong with it.
Yeah.
Because there might not be anything really wrong with it.
Correct.
But what is right about it? You know, is there a chance that you could, I don't know, not hurt, but like, if you want to make them stumble, if that's a real thing or whatever, but, I know.
There's another ditch to that. But
yeah,
yes.
I know, you know what I mean. But
if
there's a chance you can help someone else not do that by, let's say, wearing, longer pants or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it should be taken into account at least, and that comes with being socially acceptable, I guess, but doesn't mean you have to go wear baggy shorts down to.
Correct.
You don't have to. But.
And it definitely does come through of your intentions. Like there's 100%. Yeah. And I think part of, why guys' modesty isn't talked about nearly as much is obviously the way that men and women are wired are different. So it's going to pertain more to
people just know what we're talking about. Yeah, it's okay. We
you already know.
Yeah. The guys are just built different.
I think the guys' modesty, where the guys have to be way more careful, is playing with emotions.
Would agree for sure.
That's where I think the guys, it's not necessary. Obviously there's some aspects of clothing, but modesty is way bigger than that. That's probably the most visible form of modesty, but there's a lot more to it. And I think with guys it's much more being careful with, playing with emotions, manipulation, getting, trying to, I don't know. I think that's a lot more in play for guys' modesty, but.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Good question, Taylor.
Yeah, well done, Taylor. That was a good one. I don't really know what we were going to say going into that, but.
No, I didn't. I've thought of it a lot before as far as just a topic. It actually reminds me and Taylor were talking the other day. We went down to a hockey game in Columbus. We were just talking, and it was really good. I was talking to a friend of mine, actually, about just, I don't even know what we're talking about. We were talking for a long time. Anyway, it got brought up, and he referred me to a podcast that I listened to today. Very, very good. But one of the things that was talked about in the podcast was for every mile of road, there's 2 miles of ditch on either, you know what I mean? It's like, whoa.
Hello.
Whoa, that was thought
out. What a metaphor. Yeah.
And one thing that I kind of correlated with that, it wasn't really said in the podcast, kind of, it was alluded to, but I want to be careful in my life to not to not base this could go to not base a decision off what not to be. And so there's, and this is just my opinion, so what it could be worthless, whatever, but there's a lot of people who have maybe grown up in this ditch, and when they grow up, they're like, okay, I am not going to do that. They raised me like this, I'm going to not do that. And so they base their decision not off what they're actually wanting, but they're actually basing it off of what they don't want or fear, or, you can get all those things.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like it's really important to look down the middle of the road. What do you actually want to become? Just like mowing. So if you look left and right, it's like, if you look to the right, like, oh, well, I don't want to go too far right, and then you go left, then your line's going to look like this. But if you just look straight forward, sure, there's going to be probably some curves, but way, way straighter.
Yeah.
So I think that can correlate to just your spiritual walk, as well as just keeping your eyes on what's most important. That tied into the funeral, as well as keep your eyes on what's important, not these little ditches you can go to. And like the quote says, there's more ditch than the narrow road. And so I thought that was really good. Like, when I heard that, my mind just raced around, because I know in my life, everyone is raised differently, and there's things that they might wish, like oh, I wish I would have been raised like this, or raised like this. But don't let fear, don't let how you grew up. Obviously you can learn from those things, but don't make decisions based out of not wanting to be something. Base it on what you want to become, or what you feel like God's called you to. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I see a lot of people going ditch hopping, if we call it. Yeah.
Well, and I think
I'm not saying it's easy not to.
Correct, yeah.
I'm not, 'cause I'm sure I've done it in some ways or whatever, but.
Well, what's funny is I've seen this in people, and in just different things, is it actually, that one thing, should I even say it? I don't know. Sure, why not? Let's get canceled. No, it's not that bad, but I'm just saying, so in this community specifically, there are people that, and this is, not everyone, but there's people who are in the Mennonite system, and they just would do anything to just get out of that. But the thing is, that's controlling them, of not wanting to be Mennonite, or not wanting to be in the Amish community, or not wanting to be, and then there's the other way too, or whatever it is. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe you grew up, I don't know, maybe, well, and I see this too, like if someone grows up and they struggle with alcohol, and they just completely ban it, cut it off, no more, whatever, and that's probably okay. It's probably okay. There's some give and take there, but I just think that's, I don't know, that's something I've noticed, is like that thing is actually kind of controlling you.
It's almost an identity. It's like, oh, I'm not Mennonite.
Or I'm not.
Or Amish, or I'm not, you can take, I'm not saying
whatever.
Just for Mennonites.
Yeah, that's kind of, maybe that's a bad
we just picked on the Mennonites there for a little bit.
Yeah, but, well, no, and especially in this culture, it's a Mennonite culture, so there's things that people will do just to kind of show, like, oh, I'm not a part of them, or but that's actually controlling your decision. You're not deciding things based on what you actually personally deep down feel.
Yeah, you're just that's good.
That's what I'm talking about with the road. Like, where do you want to go? Forget all the hoopla, all the ditches. Just where do you want to go?
Yeah. Good.
And I also, one other thing, not to be long-winded, but yes. I saw I think it was on social media somewhere, but it talked about, where did my train of thought? The train just left.
Social media.
Yes, okay. Let me see if I can gather my thoughts here. So, I was not going to say this, nor
That's
the other
whole
thing,
podcast. We weren't going to say it, and then we're like, oh,
it just
it's the podcast.
Exactly.
Say it.
When you're on your, it was when you're on your deathbed and you die, all right? Think of all the decisions that you make based on, like, well, what will my parents think, or well, what will my friends think, or well, what will those people think? They said, but from the time you die, 2 generations later, after you die, all the people in the entire world, when you are alive, are going to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who is going to care about what, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, in the short term, like there is a, like I was saying earlier, there's a social awareness of, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that was like, do things for you. Like, do it for what you feel God's called you to do.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge because I'm
very
very
much respect
much,
people and
I want a people pleasing, that type of thing. And it's like, no, actually, like from 2 generations from when I die, not one person in the world will be living that I was living. And I was so worried about making decisions that wouldn't hurt them or touch them or whatever. And I'm not saying bad decisions, but just things of, hey, I have an interest in this. Well, but what would they think? Mm-hmm. Well, who cares?
Yeah.
And even, I don't know.
That's kind of just with just say yes.
Just say yes. Just
say
do
yes.
it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Hopefully that made sense.
I know, because we're not,
long,
I feel like we say this every time, but it's not in a sense of like disrespect or nothing like that because you do have to keep in mind, obviously, they are your parents, or if it's your friends, or if it's your family. Mm-hmm. We're not, obviously, like we're just saying, take it into account, whatever. But as far as the big picture goes, like, you don't base your life off of what other people are going to think of you, because that's a bad way to live, because it's fearful. Now you should care what they have to say and care everything, all about that. But
taken into account. Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, taking it. That's a good way. Because obviously even it's like put others before, others before me or others before yourself and that whole thing. But as far as like live the life that God has called you to live, not what
other people think it should be.
Yes.
Or what your culture says it should be.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
Let God define you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's not that easy, I know.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It's not. I get it.
But I think, and really what it boils down to is, and the whole road analogy and everything is digging deep into the intention of your decisions. Like, go there. Go to the deepest part of you, like, okay, why am I deciding this? Mm-hmm. Why am I wearing this? That plays into the modesty thing. Why am I here today? Why are we doing this podcast? Why are we, all those things? What is your actual intention? And if we truly know, we'd probably be a little scared of how much pride and how much that stuff affects it. But just pray that the Lord would guide you and have faith.
That just reminded me a little bit of a little segment that I was just listening to. This is from a year or two ago, but it's on John Christ's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I like listening to that. It's a blast.
What is his called?
Net positive, yeah. Finding the net positive and everything, yeah. And so they did a section called tire pumping.
Oh.
And so it was awesome. They had all their listeners write in and lay out either their occupation or stuff like that, and then add a percentage of what percent they actually like doing the job versus the tire pump that they get from it, like the ego boost.
Ah.
And it was very interesting because we all have it to a little bit. We all like this one guy, like this is exactly what he said. So don't come at me.
Yep.
But he said this male worship leader that was pretty young. Yeah, it was a male worship leader that was pretty young, I think, or he was on the worship team or whatever. And he said, I absolutely love being on the worship team, everything like that, everything he goes through. But he said, this is what he said. It's like, it doesn't hurt at all when a pretty girl walks in the church and he's also, I think, a greeter or something like that. And then he's like, oh, I got to runs up on stage and just leads worship in front of people.
Oh, yikes.
And he was like, this is what it was. He was like, 90% love what I do, but 10% tire pump. And it was a whole episode of just people being like, listen, like I'm a firefighter and I love what I do, but when I come out of the fire carrying that child in my arms or whatever, it's a little bit of an ego boost.
Yep.
And it was so interesting to see all the different jobs. It was every occupation, and they all were like, there was a little sense of pride. And it was like, I'm not saying I don't have it either, because there's some satisfaction you get. Even with painting, it's like, I just did something that the homeowner couldn't do, didn't want to do, and I just made him happy. That kind of feels nice sometimes. So I just thought the tire pumping was a hilarious.
That is crazy. Well, I mean, it's probably that's a good question to ask.
I think it will. It
Wow.
honestly could reveal some honest truths about where maybe more pride than you think you have, maybe more. And I just thought, like, maybe the analogy wasn't that good, but it was exactly what he said. He said, I know. He said, he even said, I think he said, I know it's not the best thing, but he said, I'm just 100% honest. Like,
Yeah.
I.
That's better than faking
Yeah,
it.
I know.
Well, and you even look at, I mean, I guess does this tie in? Jesus was a man of sorrows, but then also like Paul saying, I'm wretched. I'm like the real, like the super deep men of God, and even just fairly recently, some of like Smith Wigglesworth or like all those people, David Wilkerson, Leonard Ravenhill, whatever, they understood who they were in Christ and the righteousness they gained from Christ, but it was only through Jesus of their righteousness, and they realized how absolutely horrific they were as humans. So I mean that's kind of a funny thing, yet it's also very it's good, humbling.
I mean,
knowing, I mean that's good.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of crazy that
I know. I was like, that's a crazy. When I heard it, I was like, whoa. Okay, so you're okay. Yeah, but I think actually I don't know. I don't know this for sure. He might have been like an electric guitar player or something on the band where he's like, hey, like the feeling of like if you talk to somebody and you're like, hey, I gotta run, and run up on stage.
And then make sure they know they saw you.
Yeah,
run up
you're
there.
like, oh, I gotta run. I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
That was the kind of the analogy he was giving is like, look at me, I've accomplished this maybe or something like that, and like I have to go perform right now, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I have to perform my higher calling or whatever. It's probably what he was saying.
Sorry, you weren't called to this, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I thought, it was an interesting analogy, but I was like, it was a little humble check. I don't know, a little pride check.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, that's been the episode.
Well, it's been a very good podcast.
Yeah.
I had to make notes to remember what we do.
The
we have to
verses.
do a verses.
Yeah. You didn't think about this, did you?
Nope.
I can tell.
What do we have here? Should we go funny or?
Thing is, I'm not deciding.
Let's go with. Oh boy. Let's go golf versus spike ball.
Golf.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that was fairly quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was gonna be harder.
I kinda
He's a
been at it.
hardcore spike baller.
I mean, I am.
You're not as much now, probably. Yeah.
Nope. Life's getting busy. At the same time, I don't know if you say busy, slowing down, because we're all busy. If we're honest, we're everyone's busy.
Especially in the U.S. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just everyone's just. I know. Like I hear always like everyone's always like, oh, I've just
so
been
busy.
so busy lately. I'm like, I know. It's all of us. I get it. You know, all of us are busy to an extent of different stuff in life, whatever. But, yeah, no, I'm probably slowing down the old spike ball.
Yep.
Retiring
Yep.
before I even started. So, no, it was fun. I might still play some local tournaments, but no, for sure. Because golf, I could play when I'm 60.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be playing spike ball when I'm
No.
6. I don't know, not in a couple of years even maybe, but yeah, we'll see. I definitely enjoy golf. I love spike ball, but spike ball was good to build friends from all around the U.S. And that was really cool because I still have some connections now. If I'd, fly to a certain place or go to different places, I have connections to different cities and stuff like that. So that's really cool. But
Yeah.
definitely the community was awesome. But golf is just a different.
It's a different
There's something.
breed.
It's like they say in golf, like not to get to whatever, but if you can hit 100. Well, if you hit 100 in golf, that's bad.
That's no good. Yeah.
But if you can hit 100 shots in golf, but you'll hit the one shot that makes you want to come back. There's there's often one shot per round, or maybe maybe for you it's 50 or whatever. But, but there's often one shot that's like I want to play golf tomorrow now.
To do that again.
And spike ball doesn't really have that.
Yeah.
You can hit one serve or one whatever, and you're like, ooh, that's cool.
Golf. So in other words, golf's more addicting.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Definitely.
For sure. So all right.
Mine is definitely golf.
Yep.
No spike ball, but
No spike ball. No.
enjoy it. I'm a weekend spike baller.
Yes.
Don't take it seriously.
Recreational.
If someone's playing, I might play, and it's all right. But
I tell you what, that's a weird situation to be in when. It's gonna sound like I'm building myself up. No, I was gonna say like, well,
in the tire.
I was gonna say tire pump. Here, a little tire pump. Well, when you've played as much as I have, sometimes it's like you play with.
To stoop down to other people's levels.
Well, it's like I don't know how much am I like offending them by like sucking really bad. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you said it once on the podcast about playing volleyball.
Yeah, I
Remember
did.
that?
Yep.
So that's always. Well, I haven't had to do that in a while. I actually haven't played spikeball in a while.
Well,
so.
it's hard to. Yeah. Well,
Like, how do you know how
for
much
me
try hard do I go?
yeah. For me in golfing, like.
Yeah. You golf with.
I'm not a
25
I'm a
handicappers.
decent. I'm overall average, pretty good golfer. And if I play with someone that's not, do I kind of like, just kind of lackadaisical, not like kind of lose focus and just kind of like mess around, or do I actually like really give it?
Yeah. Because there's to be fair, there's going to be probably both sides of people that would be like the more like, oh, he's more relatable or whatever. He can shoot an 80.
Yeah.
But then there's others that are like, I know this guy's good, and I went playing with him today. I want to see how low he goes.
And I think
that more often than not, people are normally pretty nice.
Yeah.
I would say in general. I met a Chipotle worker today that was very nice.
that was.
I know this is really random, but
that burrito.
No, I had a bowl.
Made that burrito so big.
No, it was the guy that was my
Nice.
age, and I saw it was simple little things, guys. I'm telling you, it's really small. But first of all, Chipotle will make anybody's day better, so I can tell you that. But the guy that was checking people out, he was like I think the guy in front of me was like, he said, "Have a blessed day" to the guy. I was like,
Nice.
yes,
Nice. I saw that.
I see that.
Check.
And so we just like talked for like literally like 3 minutes, and I was like, "There's people in line. I don't know." But he was like, "Where do you, like?" He was like, "You know, how's life been treating you? Everything going well?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's going great." I was like, "What about you?" He's like, "Oh, good. You know, I get off at 4, which is good." And then he's like, "I have a bowling league that I'm in or whatever." He's like, "Gonna do that tonight or whatever." And I was like, "Well, very cool." And he's like, "Yeah, very cool." I like shook his hand because I was like, he was my age. Like he's very young, but I was like, it's good.
That's cool.
That's very good. And so, yeah, and I don't know. He was very, I don't know. When you see nice people, love it. Love nice people. I feel like most people are nice, but especially in, I don't know, if you're nice, it's nice. If you're nice, it's nice. There we go. There we go. All right, that's the podcast.
I don't know how we got into it. That's the end. We will see you next Wednesday morning. Hopefully this makes your middle of the week a little bit better.
Amen. All right.
And there's Dustin. We'll see you.
See ya.